Okay, so this is part 3 of this fashion design, costume design tutorial. If you're watching this in the first in the series, I suggest that you look through my videos, find the ones on, part 1 and part 2. Anyways, let's continue. So last time we did the figure. The very first one was dealt with the figure. The second one, we went and we dealt with the undergarment layer as well as the hairstyle, and spoke at length about color schemes. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a screenshot of this color scheme right here, which I've designed in Copazzo, and I'll just hit the copy button and then I'll paste it in. Oops, I've got my alpha channel locked. So I'm just going to go back here and I'm going to pop that little color scheme somewhere convenient. Not, not all the way off, in the corner up here, but I'm actually going to put it maybe over here. And maybe what I'll do just prior to stamping it down is I'm going to turn it 90 degrees. Yeah, like that. Okay, so 90 degrees. I've stamped it down like that. And there it is. So it's in an easily accessible place. And the reasons for that should be fairly obvious. Okay, so I'm going to lock that transparency down. And now I'm going to go back to the undergarments layer. So let me just get my filled stroke tool. Okay, so I can now that the colors have been locked, my transparency has been locked, I can start using this color scheme to color, different parts of the uniform. This clothing, this costume, that can be there. The white, can be here. If I want, I can take the pink and throw it up here. And whoops, I forgot to lock the transparency of that one. But why is it like that? I must have some, I must have painted with a little bit of, yeah, okay, that's what I thought. There is some skin tone in there which is crept in. And so once again, I have to deal with this. All right, yeah, that is one of the dangers of, multiple layers, is sometimes you wind up making mistakes like this. So yeah, I'm just using a fill tool to just quickly destroy these little bits. Destroy. Sorry. So I'm just gonna get my shape tool and then I'm gonna get rid of the rest. I love destroying. Destroy. It is troublesome, but it's these kinds of problems are not as bad as the problems of design. That when you're designing, you have to make a lot of choices. That is what makes a good designer, is a person who makes choices. A person who is a bad designer makes no choices at all and just has all of his choices made for him. Okay. So the front hair has been resolved. I can now lock the transparency of that. And what I don't suggest actually is doing this. What I don't suggest is coloring everything different. I actually like the idea of keeping all the undergarments down to more or less a monochromatic color. Like keeping everything, well, that's what monochromatic means. Mono, one color. Oh my God, what a revelation. So yeah, let's see. I can take that red accent. You know what? Maybe that's what I'll do, is I'm going to use that red as an accent color. Right? And I can do that. But now, now that I'm looking at this red against the skin, it's like, it's not a really good accent color because it's actually blending. There is less contrast between this clothing down here, the base color. The accent color is actually reducing contrast. And so I guess if there was kind of a rule of thumb in there, It's that it should not reduce contrast. Your colors should not reduce contrast with the figure. And so maybe what I'll do instead is, I'll choose a different, one of my other colors. And you see that's nice because you see, as you can see, it increases this border color now increases contrast, makes it more interesting. We want, those colors to be more vibrant or visible. And if you don't want to go for these, deep, dark colors, then, at this point, if you want, you can still go for a lighter color scheme, but it means that you're going to have to rework the proportions on this, but that's okay. I can just choose one of these slightly darker colors and redo that accent. All right, so I mean, now you're sort of seeing how that works. So anyway, let's see. So anyway, I think what I'll do is I think I will continue on with this dark color, and I'm going to do what I just did earlier, which was I'm going to use that border color to increase the contrast of the clothing here. And then once that is done, oh right, I also have, you see how I have those clothing holes there, right? So I'm going to respect those clothing holes. And you can do things like that, right? It shows it's like a layered color scheme, right? I can use this to, yeah, here we are. Yeah, that's right. So I'm using the dark color as a border, to frame those holes. And then, I'm just, this, tends to be a lot more flattering to the figure, and I can still take that, that darker color. And, now you'll probably notice that you can start paying attention to, the actual body and figure. This is why I say, we're building off the body. It's like right here is roughly where, if she was nude, where the nipple would appear, right? So, I mean, you can, in a way, you can make it so that one of these dark layers exposes, it exposes the nipple, but then on the other hand, it doesn't really, right? Because there's like still another layer on there. So this is kind of one of my, I guess, great perverted secrets of clothing design, is that when you have layers of clothing, you can reveal things without actually revealing them, but it draws attention to them, and it's dead sexy. Okay, so anyway, there we go. That, and we're still in the undergarment layer, and we're just, dealing with this clothing design. And in fact, I'm just trying to find a good way to terminate this shape here. See, if I do this, it has the opposing effect on the hips. It seems to push the hip inwards, right? Whereas if I do, this, oops, if I use this color here, it pushes the hip outwards. So, it has, in this case as well, by making the hips, in making the shadow here, pull in like that, and making that border pull in, it gives the illusion of her having a slimmer figure than she actually has. So, by working the borders, you can really accentuate a figure, and it makes for much more flattering clothing, which is a good thing. It is. Or I think what I can do is, with this, I can go for go straight down like that, right? And maybe I can just, there. I'm looking at where these other cloth slits are, and I'm like on the legs, and I'm working my way towards them. So when you're drawing clothing, one of the things that's important is that you don't try to go crazy. Well, my style does not say that you just try and make everything different. My style is to try and unify things. I'm always trying to unify and make shapes that work together rather than shapes that fight against one another. So, I mean, that's one thing that I've done. Okay, so I mean, now that I've done that on the dress, I can go in and, this is good if you're designing a superhero's clothing. They tend to have that skin tight clothing, and I'm doing, right, I can do that, or maybe I can do the opposite. I'll right. So, there's different things you can do, or if I want, I can kind of make it seem like she's got socks of some kind. Like, or maybe I won't use that color. I've got another color that I haven't used yet. How about this one? It's like you've got 5 colors, so you can begin placing them and figuring out how you want it to work. So again, more with the layered effects. You can also go asymmetrical. It's really up to you how you want to do it, but I say always be evaluative of your work, meaning look at it and just say to yourself, like look at the overall design and say to yourself, do I like this? Is this in good taste? Is this because if it's not, then you'd better go in and fix it. This is why I love working with shapes, because when you work with shapes like this, you have that ability to really evaluate the design as you work. It's done in steps and stages, and so you can make everything exactly the way you want. You can make the figure exactly the way you want. You can make the undergarments layer exactly the way you want. And so it gives you fantastic and powerful control. It is not a very, it is a formula. It does have various steps to it. But the advantage to this formula is that it gives you consistently good results and a wide variety of results. So, it means that it allows you to place patterns that don't, you can put in patterns for variety. That's the thing. A pattern gives you variety in the same way that randomness gives you variety. And the thing about people when they do random stuff is that they tend not to be too random. They tend to try and make everything different, and they avoid, any kind of patterns. They avoid unity, and they try and make everything chaotic. But the human eye does not like chaos. It likes patterns. It's always looking for patterns, and it's always trying to make nonsense out of nonsense. And so when you're designing clothing, give them patterns to direct their eye. Give them, so you know what? Like that bright color was just not working. The moment I switched back to that other color, everything, was a-okay, and all was good, and and all the double rainbows appeared, and it was wonderful. So, sometimes if you find yourself placing a color and just nothing's working, don't place that color. Just, don't get too focused on an idea. Don't get blinded, don't get so tunnel vision that, you forget what it was that you were trying to do. So it's like we are still on this undergarment layer and just figuring out, how do we want all of these colors to be placed? And, we're coming up to the end of this part, and as you can see, I don't design, it doesn't, this process does not give you 5 to 6 different designs that you will love. It gives you, one design that you will probably go for. It's like, it's nice in that you do all of your design variations, you do all your variation testing on the one image. Anyway, with 30 seconds to go, we'll start on the next part.